What's up, guys? Jeff Cavalier, ATHLEAN-X.com. So I talked about the side lateral raise before, and I said never pour the pitchers when you're doing it. Why? Because you're wasting a good bottle of water, but also you might be damaging your shoulder because we don't like this internal rotation with elevation that we get from the exercise, especially when we can do it a different way. But maybe you're asking another question, is that the best way to do a lateral raise? Because I see people do it a whole bunch of different ways. Bent arm, straight arm. Let's cover the side raise first with the straight arm. The first thing that's going to happen is you're going to have to use a lighter weight. Why? Because as the moment arm increases, the length of the arm increases, then the weight in your hand is going to have to decrease in order to be able to handle it. But don't be discouraged because your shoulders can't read what this number is on the side of the dumbbell. They only feel the tension in the muscle that's working, and as long as the tension is high enough, you're going to grow even if you're using something towards the lighter end of the rack. However, you can do something that makes this exercise even more effective. And it starts with understanding how the dumbbell variation of it actually affects the shoulder. Because we know that when you do it with a dumbbell, the easiest part of the exercise is going to be the bottom part here, because we're not subjected to gravity fully like we are at the top. Well, if we had to choose a weight for the exercise that's something we can handle up here, we know it's going to be far too light and not challenging enough in the bottom part of the range of motion. But this is where people confuse the range of motion of an exercise that's effective versus the range of motion of a joint. And then sometimes the motion should be abbreviated to remain in the effective range. So I've talked about if you were going to do the straight arm raise, limit the range of motion to the top half, because this is going to remain challenging no matter where or what type of weight you put in your hand. You can go all the way down if you want, come up and do it in a 1.5 style. But again, try to perform the majority of the work in that abbreviated range. Now, if you're going to do the bent arm lateral raise, first thing you're going to want to do is increase the weight, because we know mathematically and through physics that if that moment arm is shortened, you're going to effectively be able to handle a heavier weight to make that tension feel the same in the working muscle. And in this case, you're generally going to want to take about half the weight of the weight you were using and add that to that weight to get the weight you should be able to handle with a bent arm. So if I was using a 20-pound dumbbell to perform a straight raise, add half of that, 10 additional pounds, is going to give you about 30 pounds. So now I should be able to feel about the same tension in the muscle with a 30-pound dumbbell done with the arm in this bent position. But a couple things happen here that you need to be aware of. First of all, you're introducing another lever arm. This time it's not just the arm length from here to here, but now you've introduced a lever arm from here to here that goes in this direction, anteriorly. And two things happen because of that. When I have a weight in my hand here, it's going to want to pull me down in this direction. And that's something you want to be careful of, because if we pull down, this is still internal rotation the same way it was when I was doing the pour the pitcher from the top. So I want to make sure I always have my wrist and hand above my elbow, meaning I don't want to have the pinkies high and the thumbs down, but the thumbs high and the pinkies down, and again, wrist above elbow. That's the first thing. The second thing is when you have that anterior displacement through a bent arm lateral raise, it could tend to not only push this down, but make the front delts want to do more of the work to get that weight back up, which is defeating the purpose of trying to build that middle delt. So if you're going to do that bent arm lateral raise, you're going to want to have the weight staying relatively in line with your torso, so not out in front of you. So when you do that, you just let the elbow drift back behind you and keep that dumbbell pretty much in line with the body. And again, tension-wise, it should feel pretty similar because the adaptation was made by increasing the dumbbell weight to just keep that tension high inside the delt. But it still has the same issues as the dumbbell did in terms of the resistance curve and strength curve. So how can we maybe fix that? Well, that's where you have to look at something like a cable lateral raise, because the cable now becomes a line of resistance. And if the cable can remain perpendicular to, in this straight arm version here, the forearm, then we're going to have tension right from the very beginning of the exercise, where it was pretty much absent in the other version of the lateral raise with the dumbbell. Right off the bat, we've got tension here because it's perpendicular to that forearm. So we're going to have a really nicely loaded exercise when the shoulders are at their strongest, and even at the top when they're not so strong, there's still some tension here, but it's less, right? Because we've got this less degree of perpendicularity of this line of force to the forearm. So this is a great way to do the exercise. However, I think you gotta look at that one last variation, and that is, what if I was gonna take the arm and bend it again and still do it with a cable? And this is where I think you get the best of all worlds, because now I can not only bring it across my body to get more of a stretch at the beginning, but now when I come up to the top, I've got more perpendicularity still remaining because the lever arm is now existing in this plane that was not there when we were straight. Right now I'm still in this position, so there's more tension even at the top. So I'm down and across my body, I get that stretch, and I can come up and across. So I kind of have the best of all worlds here. And what I like to do is take the opportunity, again, to load this heavier, because we know we can, because of the bent arm position, to allow me to cheat it up, still have to control it, and then you control that eccentric on the way down. So introducing another stimulus for growth with the controlled eccentric across your body. So if I had to give one the title of the best, I would say it's the cable bent arm lateral raise, but every single version of the exercise can be done to your benefit and can certainly be done to grow bigger shoulders if you know how to use them. Guys, if you're looking for programs where we put them all together at different points in times when they're most appropriate, you can find them at ATHLEAN-X.com. If you're looking for a complete shoulder workout, check out the perfect shoulder workout over here. And also, guys, make sure you click subscribe and turn on notifications so you never miss a new video when we put one out. All right, guys, see you soon.